Hello, how are you doing? Welcome to my channel. This is Chasing Ghost. I am Tara Smith, and today I'm going to be doing a 5K service on my bike, which is going over a bunch of things and hopefully taking off on a green light here before people get mad. But I'm going to be going over a few things on my bike and doing a 3-hole oil change. And right now I'm out riding it around, just getting the oils and everything all nice and warmed up so they'll run out of the bike easily. We want to get all of that old stuff out of there. And we're going to go over some things on the bike that need to be checked. Some of them aren't due yet, but I'm going to check them anyways. You don't have to, but yeah, you don't even have to do a 3-hole. It only calls for 1 hole on the 5K, but I'm going to do a 3-hole, just kind of cheap insurance, whatever you want to call it. It's only got 5,000 miles on it, and I want to see if there's anything weird in any of those boxes. So I'm going to go ahead and do 3 holes, and I might do things a little out of order because I'm filming. We'll just see how that works out. If you have a long ways to go to get parts or anything like that, especially, I would suggest going over your bike before you go get your oil and your filters and all that stuff. If you're not ordering the stuff online, which a lot of people are doing nowadays, if you're going like to a dealer or a parts store to get all their stuff, go over your bike first, take a good look at it, see what all you need, especially if you got to go to the dealer. My dealer, they recently closed, so it's an hour and a half for me to get to a Harley dealer, and I'm not riding an hour and a half, you know, twice for not for parts. I mean, I'll ride an hour and a half. I'll ride a whole lot longer than that, but you know, I want to be riding for me, not for, hey, I need a part, hey, I need this. I definitely don't want to be going in the car to go get parts and stuff when I could be riding. It's just taken away from my time, you know. So go over your bike first, check everything, make sure, you know, do you need brakes, do you need brake fluid, is this bolt broken, is that, you know, a problem here, why are these wires melted, do I need a fuse, do I need whatever. Make sure you have all that first. And if you don't have the funnels and stuff that you need, depending on what you're using too, I mean, if you got like your gear oil and stuff in a bag and you can squeeze it out, well, you may not need that primary funnel. If you got a funnel you can stick in there and pour it in, you may not need that primary funnel. But you might need a friend to hold the bike up while you do it if you don't have a stand, and I do not have a stand. I don't know if I have a friend. We'll see. We'll cross that bridge when we get there in a minute, and I will catch y'all later. And when I see you again, I should be pulling plugs and draining oil. So catch you later, probably right about now. Okay, a couple things before I get started so that you can see. I had to put my keys in my pocket. There's the mileage right here. So on the 5K service, I have 4,990 miles. Also, I have this nice box of stuff that I picked up from Harley. It came with 5 quarts of the Sin 3, and if you notice, they changed their bottle. And that's Sin 3. I was thinking about Amsoil or something, but I ended up just going with that. And I have their new gear oil, and we will be trying that out. Okay, trying to get the angle right on my camera. We have a 5/8 socket right here, our 5/8 bolt, and I have a 5/8 socket. This oil is going to be hot, and it is going to come out in a hurry. So I'm just going to break it loose where I can turn it with my fingers. If you're working on your friend's bike or somebody else's, I would suggest wearing gloves. This is mine. I'm not as worried about it. But have your catch jugs ready. Whenever you're catching it in, I just cut a jug out there. I've got another thing here to move over in a hurry. I'll get it finger loose. I also loosen the dipstick fill hole thing up there so that it will run out quickly. And yes, this is going to be hot. It is motor oil. And if you happen to drop it in the oil, just leave it there for a minute, let it run out. You can pull it out later. It's not the end of the world. You do want to check the end of your drain plug here for little pieces of metal and stuff, and you should find some. There we go. But it shouldn't be a whole lot. Okay, you should be able to see that. We're good. There's no chunks, nothing bad. Clean it off, and also clean your threads. I don't care what you use to do that. You can use a brush for one of the little plastic brushes they use for, you know, cleaning your guns and stuff like that. You can use a little wire brush. You can use a toothbrush. I wouldn't reuse the toothbrush on your teeth, but see those threads? Clean them up before you stick them back in. And go ahead and get the new seal and put the seal on there before you put it back in. Okay. Now we're going to see how bad I screw this up. But if you notice the thing there, now I gotta take the filter off. I've already loosened it. There we go. Let that drain for just a second. Okay, I think this is recording. My GoPro's acting weird. I'll put the new filter on, run it down, hand tight, and then I just turn it about a half turn, left it there. Don't over tighten your filter, that's a pain in the ass to get off. In case I forgot to mention it, I did lube the oil filter gasket, and I ran it down and I tightened it about a half turn, and I'm going to leave it right there. It says a half to 3/4, but I just did it a half. I figure a little less is okay. I don't like tightening oil filters that tight. Now I'm gonna hope this thing's recording. All right, a few GoPro issues. But I am installing the drain plug for the engine oil. Right there. It's supposed to be like 14 to 21 pounds. I just split the difference at 18. And just let it click once. If you see it leaking later, you can tighten it or what have you. Every time you turn it to check it again, you are turning it a little bit more. So leave it right there. Sorry for the noise. You want to film something, your neighbors want to do something. And they have every right to, just like I have every right to do what I'm doing. So that is the engine oil. Onto the transmission. Now hopefully you can see what I'm doing. And this one is going to involve kind of moving the bike. This is a transmission. And no, I haven't put the engine oil back in it yet. We're going to do that in a minute. And let me see. Double check. Yeah, that's going the right direction. This plug right here in the middle, that is for the transmission. And we will get to the primary here in a second, but this is for the transmission. And we are going to go ahead and pull that. I'm going to go ahead and drain everything, then I'm going to fill it. There we go. And once again, the oil will be hot. If I flub anything with my words or what have you, I'm trying to do this quickly and keep all the oil and everything nice and hot so it will run out. And I may move the camera back a little and hopefully it catches this, what I'm about to do, because I do not have a friend. If you have a friend, it will make this a lot easier. And once again, check your plug. I don't know if it's picking that up. Hopefully it is. I don't have any chunks or anything. I've got a little, just like normal, I'd almost call it like that little powder, whatever. That's going to be on there. There's no chunks of anything that I can see, at least so far. And what we are going to do now is I'm going to clean my hands. I'm going to walk over to the other side of the bike, and I'm going to stand this upright for just a little bit, probably about 2 or 3 minutes, and I'm going to put it back down. Once again, clean your threads. Move it back so hopefully I don't hit it. If I can get my fat ass up. And yes, I'm going to clean my hands off first. Gloves would help in this situation. because I do not want to get oil on my handlebars. You also don't want to get it onto your exhaust, because then it will stain your exhaust, and that is not good. So let me finish cleaning my hands. I had a thing over here come up. There we go. I've been covered in enough chemicals and stuff at this point that I'm just waiting for my superpowers. Maybe, just maybe, I can become a Marvel villain. Who wants to be the hero? They don't have any fun. And hopefully I put that in the right location. And it is going where it should. But I'm a big girl and I can hold the bike up, so that's not a problem. If you're small, you might need some help. I might need some help with the primary, but I think I have a solution for that. If you have a friend, even better. Just saying. I don't think I have a friend, so I will show you a solution here in a minute. But right now, we're going to drain all this oil out. I'm going to let it sit here like this, basically as long as you want to. It's probably all drained out now, probably a little trickle. But I'm going to stand here probably 2 or 3 minutes balancing the bike up. And I might lean it a little further. Don't get too carried away with it. It's a 700-pound bike, you know. They're nice and balanced. This Lowrider is very, very balanced. You don't want to get too carried away with it. And if you get a little oil on the floor, don't have a heart attack. Just clean it up. Please clean it up. Don't slip on it with your bike when you come back in. Inevitably, no matter how clean you try to be, there's going to be a little spot of oil somewhere. It's a garage. So that's for. If it bothers you that much, put something down first. As for me, my floor is not pretty, so if I get oil on it, I clean it up, and I'm good. Other than that, I don't really care that much. If you do, take precautions. Now, I don't know if you can see that in there. Try to get it up there to it. Here we go. See down there? That's the fill plug. You want to wipe that off clean and remove the fill plug. You do not want to get dirt in there. I know I haven't cleaned the bike first, but there's a reason for that. I'll get to that. Wipe everything off so you don't get any dirt in there. And then you're going to remove it. The cover that I removed right here, right there, which is sitting right there, that is 2, I believe 5/16 Allens. And then there's a little grommet that goes over that little stud there, and you can pull that out. While you're here, take a look at your battery. If you notice, the battery is right there. Take a look, make sure nothing's corroded. Take a look at your wiring. Anytime you have these panels off, take a look at everything, see if anything's melty, anything's rubbing, any kind of corrosion or wear in that regard. Just take a look at it. Okay, this is the fill plug dipstick. For some reason, I will already tell you, it was already loose. Don't know why. Harley-Davidson did the last service on this motorcycle, but it just spun right loose. And I'm going to tip this again before I put the bottom plug in. And I'm going to leave this out for just a second. Put it in a clean location. Once again, I have cleaned the threads. I have put the new gasket on. And I am running this in with my fingers. I'm going to run it all the way in with my fingers. Because the last thing that you want to do is to cross thread this bolt or the others or any of them. Do not cross thread bolts. And try not to make righty-tighty become righty-loosey, because nobody wants that. And once again, we are going to torque this down. Torque wrench is at the same setting. There we go. And that should be good. I mean, you can check. Wipe off your excess oil that has drained, that has done anything. We're gonna wash this bike when we're done. As long as you don't get it on this stuff up here, you should be pretty good. And I just wiped it. See, I'm an idiot. But I can clean it. I don't think I got any on there. I'll check, I'll make sure. But yeah, don't get anything over there. I think that's like a Freudian something you're talking about it, or like object fixation. I do not know. But now we've got both of these drain holes. Oh, or drain, not drain. I'm gonna have to take that out or something to edit, whatever. Now we have the fill hole open with the dipstick for the transmission and the one for the engine. We're going to put 1 quart in the transmission, and we are going to fill the engine. I'm not going to put all 5 in there just yet. I'm going to start off with just 4. And then I'll come back later and I'll put the other one in and I'll check it. And I do not run it all the way to the top full. I run it just a little bit down of full because I don't like oil blown all over my motor when I roll the throttle. And I'm having fun. I don't know if y'all have the same problem and the same solution, but if you do, let me know. What is this? See? Get onto your bike and take a look. It's like somebody had tape here. Why would they have tape? I can understand the leaf. Why would that be on a new bike? What is that? Is that tape or is that a leaf? It's like tape or something that's hard. Oh well, get onto your bikes, folks. Take a look at them. Now we're going to put some fluid in. Now make sure your funnel is clean. You don't want that stuff in your motor. Clean it off before you put it in there. Also, pour your oil in nice and slow. Let it sit for a second. Let it go down. Because if you don't, it's going to bubble out the fill tube and you're going to have a bigger mess and it's going to go all over your bike. Now, I don't care so much about, you know, oh, you're going to make a mess, because you're going to make a mess doing just about anything. There's no need to unnecessarily make a mess. So just pour it in nice and slow. Take your time. And I would start off with 4, let it sit there for a minute, and then come back to it and then fill it up. Then we're going to start it and run it and check it again. Now I'm doing the transmission. It takes 1 quart and pour it in nice and slow. As you notice, I haven't put that cover back on, obviously, because I'm filling it. It's behind there. But I'm still not going to put that cover on for a little bit because we're going to go over a few things on the bike. But we're going to pour, I'm using Harley's new gear oil. I'm going to pour it in nice and slow. Okay, now we have our fill plug back in with the dipstick. And we have that one back in for the oil. So the transmission, that's done. Now I'm going to move over to the primary. So I forgot to mention that little plug there, for the transmission fill is a 3/8 Allen. And it's a little bit weird getting in there with an L-shaped one. So if you got a socket with a 3/8 on it and you put it on a ratchet, it's about the right length, but it shouldn't be that tight. You get a socket with a 3/8 Allen on it. You should be able to turn that with your fingers. Okay, I know this looks weird. Doing this before I pull the plug. But, I have my torx here. This is T25. Let me take my glasses off because they're fogging. What I want to do, I want to make sure all of these come loose. I wasn't the last one to mess with this. It should not be over torqued. But just in case there's any problems, anything, I'm going to loosen these up and make sure that I'm not going to have a problem with one of these bolts. Before I pull that plug right under there, which is a 5/8, and as you can tell, they all turn. The other thing it'll do is it'll let some air in there and help everything drain out. And when you tighten these back up, don't over tighten them, don't break them. Don't make a headache for the next person. Please do not do that. No one wants to drill these things out. Okay, this is a 5/8. And let me get my lefty loosey righty tighty correct. Okay, should go this way. There we go. And like everything else, oil is going to flow. Have a nice place for these bolts right here. Went ahead and took the primary cover off. There we go. Have a nice place to put that so you're not going to scratch it. I may be getting one made by somebody. I don't know yet. I'm going to have to check them out. Of course, I'm going to replace this gasket right here. You don't have to. It should be good, you know? But I always save stuff like that. Does anyone else have, like, drawers full of bolts and stuff they replace, but you know, you keep the old things and little O-rings that are still good, but you know, you need to replace them, and then you have just kind of that spare sort of thing. And this bolt here, of course, is to drain the primary. This is a primary plug right here. And as always, there is going to be oil. Why do I have that on my arm? A leaf. There are leaves everywhere. Don't get them in your motor. This is just my garage, my simple little garage. And of course, oil can be hot. Oil is going to be messy. Oil is going to get on your hands. So, be prepared. And if you don't want your hands to get dirty, I would not suggest doing this. Or at least wear gloves, but even if you wear gloves, you know, I grew up in a different time. Nobody was wearing gloves. So I got used to doing stuff without gloves. That and we were poor. It's not like Dad was going to buy gloves for us to wear out and replace. It's like, that's what calluses are for. Anyways, hopefully you can see this. Like I said, you might Okay, like I said, you might get a little bit, like you'll see that little dust or what have you. It's magnetic, but that's normal. That's not excessive. There's no chunks of anything. Clean your threads here. You got it off, just go ahead and replace that little O-ring, and that's normal. And I'm going to let this drain for a little while. And then we're going to put 1 quart of the Harley-Davidson's new gear oil in there. And this might be where I need a friend. I don't know yet though. We'll find out. Okay, this is a Saturday, so I got neighbors' kids out playing and all that. I don't mind. I kind of miss mine. Mine are grown. I got my finger oily. But, once again, that is a 5/8. And we are going to use our torque wrench. Let me move this out of the way so it don't catch the torque wrench. Because we are going to torque this down. How's that keep getting in the way? There we go. And it is torqued. Pull that back under. Kind of big here, so here's what it is. These are all T25, if I forgot to mention. And I'm not doing this gasket just yet. You don't have to have this. You can use a little funnel, pour it in there. I just got it because I wanted to have it. If you're using the fluid that comes in the little bag that you squeeze, you don't need this anyways. Just squeeze it in there. But once again, we're using Harley's new gear oil. It's 80W140, which is pretty close to actually what I need in something else. That's a pump, well, not a pump, a gearbox at work. It's attached to a pump. Needs 85W140 or EP140. That's not what I'm doing right now. I'm doing the bike. I have hay locust squirrel disease. You'll have to excuse me. I'm going to pour this in there slowly. It should take 1 quart. Pull this back a little bit. Actually, I believe it costs for like 0.9. But a quart, you're going to do good. And hopefully, you're going to get it all in here. I'm just going to let it pour in nice and slow. I have a theory, because it didn't really run out when I cracked it open. So I'm going to pour most of this in here. And then I'm going to take a look at the level. If it looks like I need it, I'll probably put a little board under the kickstand. I think I'll have this covered. Yeah, we're doing good. let it sit here for a second. While you're under here, this is a good time to check things like your drive belt. Hopefully you can see me doing that right here and how much plays in there. My drive belt is good. And they have these nice little hashtag marks on the side. Drive belt is awesome. If you need to tighten it, then you can tighten it. But it's right there where it needs to be. So while you're waiting for oil to drain, just go over everything else, take a look. Like I said, you're right here. Your drive belt's right there. Have a look at it. Your brakes are over there on the back on the other side. The front you got both, but we're going to go over those in a minute. Yeah, it's not running out. But if you need to, you can have a friend hold it up. If you have a stand, that works better. Just make sure you get your oil nice and hot, then drain it. You're good. Oh, it's Texas. I'm all sweaty and oily now. How are we doing? Oil level is looking good. First time I've changed the oil on this bike, or a 6-speed transmission, or anything else like that. Last bike I did anything like this to was a 73 Kawasaki. But anyways. Okay, I took my gasket out and I put it back in. I'm going to reuse this gasket. Why? Because the kit that Harley gave me, yeah, that does not go to this bike. I will let them know. So, something to watch out for. But that gasket should be just fine to reuse it. Now just make sure your gasket is nice and clean before you put it back on. And I'm going to run, I'm going to cough is what I'm going to do. Okay, I'm going to run these down with my fingers. I'm actually just going to put the bolts in here first. So we're going to use a nice star pattern, tightening these down. And make sure you have this on here nice and flat or what have you. And hopefully I don't drop them in the oil. We do not want to do that. Okay, I'm going to run all these down just with my fingers. And yes, there is a torque specification for everything. Okay, this right here, make sure you have something in inch pounds, a torque wrench in inch pounds. These right here are 25 to 35 inch pounds, and we're gonna go in a kind of star pattern. I'm gonna run them down, not torque them all the way first, just like tighten them a little bit, then I'm gonna come back over and I'm going to torque it. I'm not actually torquing it right now. I'm just going in a nice little star pattern and going around to make sure I have this on here nice and even. I called Harley, let them know that was the wrong gasket. Okay, now I should be ready to torque it. Like I said, 25 to 35 inch pounds, not foot pounds. Do not use foot pounds. Do not break these bolts off. You do not want to do that. I'm sure somebody has. You do not want to. And there we go. I'm going to go over to here. I'm going to go to this one. I'm going to go to this one. And I'm going to go to this one. That is good. There's really no need to double check, but I only set this to 30. That one's good. 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 And they are all good. They're all torqued down. Everything's torqued down. Everything's full. I'm going to recheck the oil, and we're going to check a few other things on this bike. Okay. I left that panel off, and we're going to check a few things else out over here. Let me get a flashlight, see if that helps. This is your shock. Make sure it's not leaking. Make sure nothing's loose. Make sure that bolt right there, right in the middle of the screen, make sure that that bolt hasn't came loose. There's a recall on that bolt. They've already taken care of it for me at Harley, and it's holding in place pretty good. Let's take a gander in there. That's where you adjust it. It's your adjustment settings. Take a look at all your wires. Make sure that nothing is rubbing. Nothing is melting. Nothing looks out of the ordinary. This is my rear tire. The tire is okay. The treads are okay. It's only got 5,000 miles on it, so it should be. Check your brakes. Check your brake pads. If you can see that, hopefully the camera picks it up back there, I don't know, but I can see it. There's little wear marks on your brake pads, and my rear brakes are just fine. This is my air filter. I did not like the snorkel thing that they had on it. It hit me right in a bad spot on my leg that is kind of messed up from an accident. So that I'm a little over 6 foot, so I put my feet forward, it was gonna catch it. And I put the Harley round extreme airflow filter on it. And for those of you that don't know, that's just a K&N filter. It has a different cleaning process. This one is not due, and I will be doing a video on how to clean that filter in the next couple of weeks, just to show you how to do it. That one, honestly, it's not even due yet, and the filter is good. You do want to get up in here with a flashlight. You want to look at all your electrical connections, make sure nothing's pinched. You want to look at your fuel lines. You want to look at your brake lines. You want to look at your oil cooler. Make sure that it's not leaking or anything like that. Make sure that none of your fuel lines are leaking. Make sure that your brake lines are not leaking. That's one of the reasons I didn't wash it before doing this. And I'd already looked at it, and I know that oil right there, that's from changing the filter. We're good. I've already looked at it, trust me. The brake fluid's good. It's not due for flush. Doesn't have any moisture in it. Check out your lines, your cables. Make sure that nothing is rubbing. Make sure that nothing is leaking. You don't have anything leaking, especially your brakes, especially your fuel. Just go over your bike really good. Now, 5K does not call for spark plugs. We have 4 of them now. If you want, you can pull one of your spark plugs out. Take a look at it. If you do that, pull one out on both heads, and you can just kind of see how your engine's running if you feel like doing it, but it doesn't call for it right now. So you don't actually have to for the 5K. Do that wrench. Headlights come on. Brights work. Flash the pass works. Horn works. You can see it blinking over here. That is blinking. Of course, in the back, that is blinking. That wasn't me. Turns off. That's somebody else. This one works. That one works. Brake lights. Luckily, I'm not short. Brake lights work. And after you've gone over everything, that's pretty much it. You check your brake lines, you check everything else, and you are good. While I'm at it here, here's the front brakes. They do have a wear bar on them. Check them out. Make sure none of this is leaking. You're also supposed to lubricate your kickstand over there. So that's on the 5K. And I think that's about it. I'll double check. I like that sticker. Is that the rally? Okay, I just realized I forgot to check the hazards. Which, by the way, also inspect your front shocks here. Make sure they're not leaking. There's nothing wrong with them. If you feel something wrong, talk to a shop. Tell them what it feels like. Try to describe it to them. Because you don't want them, you know, one side stronger than the other. That leads to some bad things. Okay, I'm not getting too carried away with it. I'm just out test riding my bike and drying it off. There are a few things that I did not get filmed for some reason. One of them was I started the bike up after I got everything done, and I checked the engine oil again. I put a little more oil in it. I started it up, got it warm, and checked it again, put a little more oil in it. It took all 5. So, and it didn't seem to be overfilled. I know if I check it in the morning and it's cold and it's all the way up to the fill mark and I get out there and I'm really getting on it, I might end up with a little oil on my bike. But other than that, we're pretty good. My feet are all wet and slippery because I washed my bike. Anyways, I hope you like the video that I filmed, 5K service. And you can make a checklist. I might show that at the end of the video. I made sort of a checklist to go through and sign off on everything, what needs to be done, what doesn't need to be done. There are things that don't need to be done that you can do. I mean, there's no problem with you doing them. You know, it doesn't need spark plugs, but you can put spark plugs in it. You know, stuff like that. It didn't need the 3-hole oil change, but I did the 3-hole oil change anyways because it's got 5,000 miles on it and I got wet brakes. And I wanted to take a good look in there. I mean, it's more than broken, but y'all seen my videos. I like to get on it, and I just wanted a little look inside the motor. That's the best look that I know of, is to basically just do that. Do a 3-hole oil change. Take a look at it. You got chunks coming out of there? That might be a problem. You just got a little bit of normal, I almost want to call it powder of metal in there. Oh, you're fine. You're good. And they charge way too much money to do that. And go through, check everything. I check the lights, I check the hazards, I check the brakes. I already know the brakes are good. I check my tire pressure regularly because I go on a lot of roads that aren't so great. And I'm used to checking for, you know, leaking shock, stuff like that. Because in my day job, I do that every day anyways. So I walk up to a vehicle, I see shocks, I look at it, is it leaking, what have you, because 27 years of pre-tripping tractor trailers, and we got old equipment, and so you better check the stuff out. And it's not that hard. The torque specs, you can get a manual, but 14 to, 21 pounds for the drain plugs. The derby cover bolts there are an inch pounds. There's an inch pound for the drain plugs too. That's not a problem. But yeah, I'm sitting here too much dead space on the video. But yeah, it's 25 to 35 inch pounds for the derby cover bolts, or essentially about hand tight with a screwdriver is about what that's going to come out to. Not torquing it down, but when you run it down and okay, that's about there. That's about 30 inch pounds. Hey kitty. I like kitties. Yeah, do not mistake that for foot pounds. Nobody wants to drill out those bolts. You don't want that headache. Most things on the bike are going to be inch pounds anyways. But the drain plugs, yeah, I just torqued them down 20 foot pounds. Because that one, you know, I think it's 14 to 21 foot pounds. And there's an inch pounds for it too. I didn't remember what it was. I wasn't using that torque wrench. But it listed in both in the manual. If you can get a manual, get a manual. I think they sell them for like $100. If you can get one when you get your bike, get one when you get your bike. You know? It's more than worth it. It's got all the information in there, all the scheduled stuff. And what I did was I made a copy of the maintenance schedule for the Softails. And I'll try to show that at the end of the video, maybe just some pictures of it or something, where I go through initialing and marking NA or initial what have you, like my air filter. I'm going to mark that as an NA because it's not due, and I got the K&N air filter on there, and that's going to be a separate video showing how to wash that, but it's not even due yet, so we're good. Or it says, like, you know, check your spokes. I don't have spokes, so I just put a little NA beside that and go through there and have that for your records. Just a checklist, sign off on it, and do your thing, and you should be good. Keep your receipts for everything that you bought. Oh yeah, the tools. The tools you're going to need: 5/8 wrench or socket or both. You're going to need a T25 torx, and you're going to need a 3/8 Allen for the fill plug for the transmission. I believe it's a 5/32 to take that little panel off to get to it. So you need the 5/32, the 3/8 on the Allen. You need a 5/8 socket, ratchet, and if you've only got one torque wrench, you need one that'll do inch pounds, and you'll be good. Nice doggy. People walking. Home sweet swamp out here, but you should be good to do your own service. There's some things that might be too complicated if you look on the maintenance schedule that you might not want to do, but that's not going to be every service. It's just not. And a 5K, you're not checking those things. I mean, you're checking your belt, you're checking to see if, you know, you got oil leaks, or you've got, you know, brake fluid leaking. How are your brake pads? One bike, this one doesn't need brake pads. I'm probably going to put them on before I take my trip. That's for a different reason. I'm probably going to do a 3-hole on it before I take my trip too, because it's going to be 5,000 miles, maybe a little over when I do it. But you know, it's not everything has to be done every service. There are certain things that are certain intervals, and it's good to look at that sheet and or just look at the book and say, well, I need this, this, and this. You might not be able to afford to do all that and it's not called for, but they will charge you for it. So just take a look at it, see what you need. If there's things that it's due for that you're not comfortable doing, don't do them. Have them do it, you know. See how much they'll charge for you to do it. I mean, if you're not comfortable, you know, literally taking things apart to service certain things, don't do it. If you feel comfortable doing that, then do it. It's not that hard. I mean, if I can do it, you can do it. But in all honesty, I did go to school to be a mechanic, not a bike mechanic, a diesel mechanic. So turning wrenches is not foreign to me. Riding this slow is foreign to me. But I just put the fluid in there, and I'm weird. I'm OCD about certain things. I do things a certain way. So, like I said, I did top off the oil, and I'm going to check it again when I get back to the house after I've ran it for a little while. And it wouldn't hurt to take that panel off again and check it. You know, just check the transmission. Okay, because that is a dipstick. Make sure it's where it needs to be. If you don't see anything leaking from your primary, you're probably good. It holds a quart. Technically, I think it's 0.9 quarts, but it holds a quart. I put a quart in there, we should be good. They gave me the wrong gasket for it, the wrong O-ring, whatever you want to call it, but my old one was good. And to be honest, you don't need any of them unless something's wrong with one. Check them out, make sure there's no cracks, no tear, no anything like that, and you should be good. Come back over here where I was. Home sweet swamp. What gear am I on? I don't know. On this episode of Finding Neutral. There we go. We found neutral. We're good. There's the bayou. We got a gator in here. Well, we got a few gators. We got one that's about 14, 15 foot long. He's been there a while. He's pretty cool. I wouldn't let your little dogs run loose. But I hope you enjoyed the video. I don't know if I'll cut that out. I might leave that in. That's a good blooper. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching. And if I remember, I'll put some pictures in at the end here of the check sheet that I went through. And you guys are all awesome. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch y'all later. Bye.